All right, so today I wanted to go over just a few things. So I told you about the HELOC and how to get the first position one. And so I've done that recently, and I just wanted to go over just some differences that I found when I was looking for different HELOCs, because not all HELOCs are the same. One, I went to a lot of different banks locally and asked them, about HELOCs. And like I said before, most banks only offer second position HELOC that you can use to just do improvements around your house, things like that. No one really offered a first position that I found. I did find one of the banks that I had a relationship with already did offer a first position HELOC, and it was at 80% loan to value. And, I was like, well, that's pretty good. It's a good bank. I like it. I like banking there and everything. Had good experience with them in the past. But again, I was looking for the best deal. And so if you use the link below and use the methods described there, they'll teach you how to find HELOCs that can get you a 90% loan to value. And let me just tell you the difference that an 80 to a 90% loan to value made for me. So I'm just going to use my numbers. I know everyone's not going to be the same. Where you're at with your current mortgage and how much you owe and how much your house is worth and all that are obviously going to be different. But I'll give you my experience, and then you can be the judge of what is better. So in looking for banks, I found a 90% HELOC, 90% loan to value HELOC, first position. And what that did is in difference from an 80%. My house was valued at $485,000 after we did the appraisal. And so if an 80% HELOC would have been $388,000 loan to value, or a loan. And then the 90% was a $436,500 HELOC, which was a difference of $48,500, which is big because for me, I had a bunch of debt. I had school loans, I had 2 cars to pay off, I had a bunch of credit cards, and just a lot of different things that have built up over the years. And I was just struggling to make minimum payments. And so my whole point with this was I wanted to put everything into the HELOC and just have one payment and not have to worry about anything else. So if I had gone with the 80% loan to value at 388, I wouldn't have been able to do that. But with 436, I was able to pay off all the debt, all the school loans, the student loans, the cars, credit cards, everything else. I was able to get it out from underneath all that payment debt and just put it into the HELOC. And it made me a huge difference. And I had $20,000, over $20,000 in reserves, which is amazing because, it's just, you go from, it's a night and day difference of paying all these minimum payments. And it was a lot. I was paying, I looked just recently, I was paying $4,656 a month in minimum payments. That was including my mortgage and everything else that I was paying before, and to what I'm paying now. So what I'm paying now is $1,552. So that's a difference of over $3,000 a month just in payments. And yes, I haven't paid off the debt necessarily. It's just gone into the HELOC, so it's more of a transfer of debt. But the payment of debt that I'm having to make each month is huge. And so now I can take all of that money and I can pay it into the HELOC and pay it down a lot faster. And that is how you actually go from just barely making it and having to have a mortgage for 20, 30 years to being able to pay off this HELOC in 5 to 7 years. Because if you can pay $3,000 a month more, then that is just unheard of. And if you use any of the debt calculators on the web, just put in your numbers and just say, hey, you know what? Here's what I owe for my mortgage. And, if I could shrink my debt and, pay off all the things that I owe right now, have about the same payment, because honestly, my payment with the HELOC is about $1,300 a month. And it is interest only versus the mortgage versus paying interest plus a little bit of principal. So, it's probably about $200 less a month than I was paying for my mortgage if you balance everything out. But the $3,000 a month in payments that I'm saving is going to just blow it away and help me pay that thing off so fast. And it'll be amazing. And you can't do that with the mortgage, because even if I paid all that stuff off with the mortgage, I couldn't put all my money into the mortgage, because then I would have no reserves. I have nothing left over. And with a HELOC, what happens is the more you pay into it, and the more principal you pay off, the bigger your reserves become, because you have that amount. It's a home equity line of credit. So it's a line of credit. So every time you make principal payments, your available credit increases. So if you have any issues that come up and you're like, well, I don't want to put all my money into it, because what if, my car breaks down, or what if I need to replace my furnace or anything else, which I did with the HELOC, by the way, replace my furnace, my air conditioner, and my water heater all at the same time. Got a great deal for that. But anyway, you can do this with a HELOC. You can dump all your money into it, because you're building up those reserves and you have access to those reserves, so that if anything happens to you in the future, if any expense comes up, you can cover it and it's not a problem, because that money is there. Versus a mortgage, say you had a $300,000 mortgage, you paid down to $200,000, you can't get anything out of that mortgage unless you do the expensive refinance, which usually costs anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000 just to refinance. And I've done that. I did that about a year and a half ago. Cost me $7,000 to refinance, got my payment $200 less a month, and that was it. And I was paying a little bit less for my mortgage, but my mortgage increased by $7,000. So it wasn't the greatest thing in the world, but this HELOC has been life-changing. And that's why I want to share this with as many people as I can, and just let them know that there are alternatives to making all these payments every month. And especially with this market where the housing prices have just skyrocketed and everything's high right now, it's the perfect time to find a HELOC, get into it, get your finances handled, get into a situation where you never have to worry about anything ever again. Because I've been in the spot where I've been, barely making it paycheck to paycheck. And if something hit my account at the wrong time, it would bounce and all that kind of stuff. Now I don't have to worry about that anymore, because of the way the HELOC's set up and the checking account that's tied to it is set up. It all just flows in there evenly, and I've got the huge reserve and I'm good. So I hope this has been helpful for you guys. It definitely has been a life-changing experience for me. So feel free to just click on the link below, get some more information, find out how to do this, because it will be amazing.